I'm Trevor Aeon. I'm gonna break my foot off in your ass.
Just using turn-based mode here so the feather fall doesn't tick down. So last time we completed exploring those ruins. We found a locked door that didn't have a keyhole, but we found a way to open it. And then eventually we found a large sarcophagus that had a strange figure who said they would see us again. And we haven't seen this Withers figure again yet. We also went back, and with a slightly cooler head, we went ahead and told Astarion he could meet us in his camp. We're still not happy with him, but he does have the same parasite that we do, which means he's likely invested in survival and could be useful to us. Meanwhile, we heard shouting up ahead. There's a few different things that could be, but in order to investigate, we saw that there is a small hill here. So Trevor Aeon gave us Featherfall, and we're gonna see what's up by approaching it from the high ground. Let's get started.
How much farther can I go?
Open the bloody gate!
Nobody gets in! Zevlor's orders!
That pack of goblins will be on us any second!
What's going on?
Goblins are on our tail! Open the gate, Zevlor, now!
You let goblins here? Where is the druid?
Please! There's no time!
By the nine hells! Open the gates! Cannon! No!
Shit! Form a line!
Damnable roach! Provoke the blade! And suffer its sting.
Scout! Get to the high ground! Raiders! Charge the bastards! For the absolute!
Taking position.
is the advantage?
On I go.
By sickle and sword, strike them down!
I'll bleed every last one of you!
I'll strike you down.
That was the last of them. Inside! All of you! More may follow! Open the gate!
Good.
Damn them.
They were tenacious. I wonder what they wanted here, other than bloodshed.
Taste of goblins to come, I fear. Must be a horde nearby.
My eyes grow heavy. Best to make camp.
Anything of use?
We are close to the settlement that we just fought in front of, and we do want to go there, but we also notice that we are not that far from the hidden cache that was marked on our map. So we look around for a path to get there, and notice there's a low cliff we can use to start making our way up in that direction.
I'll take that.
We utilize the vantage point to take a quick look at our surroundings. We notice there's a bridge not far away. It might not be the worst idea to poke around the immediate area, using that bridge as a boundary, before talking to the local residents. The silver pendant we just found gives the wearer the ability to cast Guidance. Shadowheart can already do that, but it's not the worst idea to have multiple sources of that cantrip. Even if I'm off by myself, it'd be nice to have Guidance available, so I'll go ahead and wear this pendant for now. Then, the Amulet of Lost Voices can go to pretty much anybody, so how about Gale? He seems the sort who likes digging for information.
That might be worth a look.
At the back of the crevice lies a bag enfolded in the chitinous squabbling of spiders. A shiny gold coin pokes from its mouth.
Survey the spiders using nature skill.
The creatures clutch the pouch possessively. You have no doubt a spider egg is nestled within.
Interesting to note, the Bard option here does not require a die roll, so let's soothe the spiders with a lullaby.
One by one, the spiders retreat to the rear of the crevice, lulled by your murmurs.
And then we can take the bag without incident.
You stash the bag. Something clinks among the coins.
Definitely an interesting find. The way it's wriggling, it's likely to hatch soon. Perhaps we can make use of that.
What's in here?
From this even higher vantage point, we can get a better idea of our surroundings. We can see the river really opens up to some wetlands in the southwest. We can see signs of a village due west, including a windmill that rises above the intervening trees. We can see some kind of structure near a waterfall to the north. We can get a good look at that crash site on the beach where we came from. We can't really see the ruins from here. They must be hidden amongst the hilly terrain. And it's hard to make out the settlement we were just in front of. It's camouflaged well. So, we found a couple of things. We found another shield. It was a spiked shield, and Trevor liked that one better than the regular old studded shield, so he's wielding that now. And then Gale asked for the other shield, because as fun as it was for him to get some offhand dagger attacks in once in a while, he thinks the protection of a shield would be better for him in general. We also found these gloves of power with Absolute's Bane. On a hit with a weapon attack, possibly inflict -1d4 penalty to targets, attack rolls, and saving throws. And it doesn't say this on the tooltip, but that portion actually doesn't operate unless you have the Brand of the Absolute. Normally, that is a part of the description, so I'm going to move forward with the presumption that it was a mistake to exclude that, and that these probably would indicate that they only work for somebody with the brand. And then there's sleight of hand +1. So nobody in the active party has sleight of hand, and nobody in the active party is branded, and we don't really know what the capabilities are of the people who are at camp, which right now is just Astarion. So, literally what these do for you right now is just sleight of hand +1, which is a very minor benefit since nobody actually has the skill. But also nobody has any magical gloves. So, I may as well put them on. Also, for the record, I see I have a couple of level ups there. I am going to rectify that in just a moment. So, having taken a slight detour to go get the hidden cache that we knew was here, our plan is now to go investigate the community that we were just at that was attacked. However, before heading in that direction, we do have at least one person in camp that we should probably talk to. So let's head to camp.
Yes?
Tell us about yourself, Astarion.
Oh, what's to tell? I'm a magistrate back in the city. It's all rather tedious.
The Imperious Elf's got the red eyes and pale skin of a white, and I'm not convinced he's any more trustworthy.
Trevor does want to know more about Mind Flayers.
I understand much beyond your comprehension. More to the point, I know the cure for our condition. It is imperative we locate a creche. You do well to observe more and question less.
Does she know what happens if we don't find a cure?
Yes, in great detail. It starts with a fever and memory loss. Then you start to hallucinate. Your hair falls out, and you bleed from every orifice. Your bones will change form. Your jaw will split to allow room for 4 great tentacles. All skin will turn to gore and be shed to reveal new flesh underneath. Then you have ceased to exist, and a mind flayer is born.
That's not going to happen. Trevor won't allow it.
Words forged in steel. May your actions express the same metal. We must find my kind and be rid of the parasite. It's as simple as that. The first symptoms should have long since started, though. That is what puzzles me.
Not changing seems like good news to Trevor.
Yes, if you give it no further thought. But anomalies lead to surprises. Bad surprises. Besides, what hasn't happened may yet come to pass.
Another joins our merry band. We'll need to keep our wits sharp around him, I think.
Tell Trevor about yourself.
Let's see. I hail from Waterdeep, City of Splendors. I am a wizard of considerable acclaim and scholar of exceptional accomplishment. I have a cat, a library, and a weakness for a good glass of wine. And if the mood takes me, I'm known to try my hand at poetry. There.
Aren't you an archmage? You must have stories.
Didn't that paint enough of a picture?
Fine. Trevor lets it go. Trevor notices the skeletal creature from the crypt, Withers. The fuck is he doing here?
We meet again, as predicted. I shall be here in thy camp, for whenever thou hast need of my services.
Services? What kind of services?
A mending of the threads between life and death. Should thou or any of thy compatriots perish, I will cleave soul to body once more.
And what's a service like that going to cost him?
A matter of coin.
There is work to do.
Now that we have Withers, we're going to respec pretty much everybody in order to explore the new subclasses from patch 8. There were some false starts, so for brevity's sake, I'm only going to show you the final forms of each of their respecs.
Ah, another. Thy name has been recorded. I shall be here in thy camp, for whenever thou hast need of my services. As thou desire.
With Shadowheart, I'm going to do the thing where you have 1 level of Wizard and 11 Cleric, taking the Wizard level first, so that when I switch to the Cleric class, save DCs for items become Wisdom based. This build gives access to 6th level spells in both classes, making it one of the most versatile builds you can have. The respec you're seeing here happened at the very end of the session. I originally intended to mostly prepare support wizard spells and thus thought I wouldn't need high intelligence. But I had forgotten that low int affects the number of wizard spells you can prepare at all. So you'll see footage of Shadowheart with only a single wizard spell prepared. Aside from that, I do want to make sure that she has Chromatic Orb for access to all elemental types, as well as the ability to make surfaces as part of the attack spell. Shield is a must-have for its incredible defensive capability. And Find Familiar is a spell that we can cast as a ritual and then unprepare, giving us greater benefit from our wizard selection, and of course the Raven Familiar is just the perfect one for a Death Domain cleric, I think. Guidance and Resistance are both great cantrips, and I'm going to get a necrotic one from the Death Domain, so I want another attacking cantrip here, and for that, I think Produce Flame is better than Sacred Flame unless you're specifically trying to do radiant damage. For Gale as a Blade Singer, of course I give him the Booming Blade cantrip. I also give him Shocking Grasp and Mage Hand. I pay for this a bit later as I realize I forgot to give him a ranged cantrip at all. His wizard spell selection is more combat oriented than Shadowheart's. I want a very high dex, even besides high dex just being good for every character, because I really want him to be able to hit with agility-based weapons. I make sure to grab Nock here because, as I've mentioned before, we don't have anybody with Sleight of Hand in our current active party. And then Cloud of Daggers for some just good AoE. Going Arcane Archer is a little out of character for Lae'zel, I think. But I do want to see the new subclass in action. What you're seeing here is my second respec of her, because where I thought the arcane arrows were going to be like maneuver superiority dice where they use dex or strength for the DC, apparently they use intelligence. So I had to give Lae'zel a decent intelligence.
These boots have seen everything.
Once I've done my respecking, I want to do a long rest, basically to reset everything, and plus we've used up a bunch of resources in the overgrown ruins, plus that goblin fight.
Be with you in a moment.
What are you doing?
Indulging in a spot of vanity. Handsome devil, aren't I? Be that as it may. Ceramorphosis. What does it make you think of?
Well, Trevor's been hearing about it in relation to that tadpole.
Spot on. Day 1, fever and memory loss. Day 2, hallucinations and graying skin. Day 3, hair loss and blood leaking from all orifices. Need to go on?
Trevor gets the point.
My point is this. Our orifices remain blissfully unblooded, our heads remain clear, and our blood temperature normal. Any expert will agree this is abnormal.
Trevor wonders how Gale knows so much about this.
Study. But what is happening, or rather not happening to us, is entirely undocumented. Uncharted territory. The silence before the storm. Something to sleep on. We should get some rest.
What's up for discussion?
Abominations grow inside us. Our bones should ache. Our mouths should bleed. Yet we thrive. It is madness. Keep your rest short. Time is not our ally.
I saw you getting a lecture from our magical friend. I have to say, I thought you'd look worse, but no. Not a tentacle to be seen.
Trevor hopes it'll stay that way.
Naturally. But I was thinking, what if it doesn't? Of course, first sign of change, and I'll have to stop that pretty little heart of yours. I am open to suggestions. Knives, poison, strangulation, whatever you'd prefer.
Trevor immediately recognizes that Astarion is right, but his reaction to a threat is still to push back. Try it, and I'll spill your guts.
Don't be so pig-headed. I'm being practical. How much damage will you cause if you transform? How much blood can you bear to have on your hands?
After the initial moment passes, Trevor can be a lot more reasonable. Make it the knife. Make it quick.
A classic. One good thrust to the heart and you're gone. We need a good blade, of course. Don't want to waste time hacking and prodding with a dinner knife. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. This is all a worst-case scenario, obviously.
Yes, but Trevor is still of the mind that he's not going to let that happen.
If the last day has taught me anything, it's that the impossible is more likely than you think. Now, let's get some rest. The sooner we start tomorrow, the better our chances of keeping this hypothetical.
I couldn't help but overhear. Well, alright, I could have helped, but didn't. Anyway, I feel the same. Other than the occasional mental exchange, it's almost as if we're not infected. The voice on the ship told me I'd become a beautiful weapon. What do you think it meant?
That sounds like manipulation to Trevor.
Whatever they were, those plans were interrupted by the dragons. Either way, we can't take the lack of symptoms for granted. We have to find a healer. Well, I've said my piece. Get some rest.
I notice here that Gale's blade song is impeded by the use of a shield, so today's morning preparations includes getting rid of it.
I bet that will fit in my pack.
So, dear, aren't you worried your kind will punish you for consorting with us?
Goblins, perhaps.
Came over to pick an herb, noticed a concealed door. Now that's something interesting to keep in mind.
Strange. It looks healthy, but it's stone dead.
A dead boar. But it doesn't look like it's been touched by scavengers.
Strange enough to examine.
The boar seems to be fresh, only a few hours dead. But you can't find any sign of a wound.
There's the bridge we noticed from the plateau, so we're not crossing it at this time because we don't want to stray too far from the settlement.
People up ahead. Something's wrong.
Stop the bleeding, Bray.
You're a true soul. You can't die. Please, stay with us.
I don't think he's conscious. Can you hear us, Ed?
You, not a step closer.
A strange symbol glows marked on their flesh, and something within you stirs in response.
I'll go where I wish is a very Trevor response, but he does not want to utilize the illithid tadpole. He's not actually trained in medicine beyond maybe first aid for cuts and scrapes in the ring, and he's certainly not just going to hold up his heads and surrender. So, in as neutral a tone as possible, what happened to your friend?
An oil bear. Please, do you have any...
Shut up, Andric. Do you serve the Absolute?
Wait.
The injured man locks eyes with you. A familiar squirming churns in your head.
This kind of tadpole interaction has happened a few times already and doesn't entail actively reaching out to the tadpole, so Trevor doesn't shy away from it like he does the illithid tag dialogue options. Hold his stare.
Your minds intertwine. You see his siblings, Andric and Brenna, new recruits, yours to shepherd.
Protect them. He's a true soul.
Mind him!
He will... He...
Edwin! Ed! Please!
He's with the Absolute now. You're a true soul. Edwin, our brother, he was chosen. Like you. Do you have orders for us? We were reporting to Edwin.
Whatever a true soul is, they appear to be treating Trevor as a superior. So he'll give them a command. Explain the Absolute to me.
What? Are you testing us? The Absolute is our goddess. She's going to rip down the old world order, start a new one. Then we'll be the ones with the power. Well, you will firstly, true soul. You don't need me to explain that.
A true soul, like you, has been chosen by the Absolute. You speak with her voice, and when the time comes, the true souls, you will rule.
I will serve at no ruler's side but my queen's.
Trevor is no true soul, but it's a bit early to give the game away. We want information flowing to us, not to them. Why are you here, in the dangerous wood?
We know that all too well, sir, but the Absolute sent us here.
We're looking for fugitives, survivors from that ship that crashed farther west of here.
Clearly they're referring to our party, but why? Tell me more.
We don't know what they look like, but anyone who survived that crash is bound to be injured. That's enough to get us started. The Absolute wants them found. At any cost.
Trevor's heard enough. Let's see what they do when they learn they found him.
You! Brenna! Kill him!
Make way.
Let's end this. got to press on.
I guess Gale failed to jump down off this ledge and thus got left behind. I'm just gonna walk him up until he joins the combat.
You should search that corpse.
And this is where it hits me that I neglected to give Gale a ranged combat cantrip at all.
Still on my feet. At the ready. Time to push my luck again. You picked the wrong fight, friend.
I am fury. I am death.
Talk to me.
Sometimes the only way out is through. Oh, the iron is hot.
I've already shown you where level 3 Shadowheart ends up, so I'm not going to show you this intermediary mistake level up, but Trevor's level 3 is his second level of Barbarian, the relevant part of which is Reckless Attack. A Reckless Attack can give you advantage on your attacks at the cost of giving enemies advantage to hit you for a turn.
A long way to go still.
Salutations. And these things have stayed interesting.
Strange power resonates within the corpse. It calls to you. Your limbs move of their own accord. There's something of value, something your mind craves. Why let its host's memories go to waste? The tadpole has absorbed it all. Its experience could nourish you, strengthen you.
What is this? It feels like the tadpole wants Trevor to absorb another tadpole? Absolutely not. Gather your strength and resist.
Your muscles loosen. The tadpole breaks free of its deceased host. Your mind is your own again. For now.
This shaft of a broken spear can be combined with another item that you find a little bit later to create a magical weapon called the Vision of the Absolute. And I sort of put it in my special items bag out of habit, but upon reflection, Trevor has no way of knowing that this is going to combine with something later. And he will probably just end up selling it off with the trash.
I've got a long road ahead. Moving in. Glowing eyes are rarely a good sign. Best be careful. I'll give it a shot.
Ourselves entertained. Oh, this was more fun when he was screaming.
Did some bleeding arts show up to save the druid? I'll cut you to pieces. Kill 'em!
On the move.
I won't give in.
Let's finish this. Heading there.
Creator, destroyer.
My pleasure.
comes easy these days.
Concentrate.
Survival is all that matters.
What should I do?
Never a dull moment.
Swift and lethal.
Well met. I am a magical projection of Gale of Waterdeep, and if you see this manifestation, that means I have prematurely perished. However, for reasons that cannot be disclosed, it is of vital importance that my death be remedied at your earliest convenience. You may rest assured that I do not speak out of self-preservation alone. Many lives depend on my return to the living within the span of 2 days. I trust I've made myself clear.
Well, this is new. Gale set up some kind of magical messenger if he dies. Why do so many lives depend on him returning to the living?
That will be covered by the "for reasons that cannot be disclosed" clause, so let's move on. I have upon my deceased person a magical item that can accomplish my return. But such is the value and rarity that it is protected by a multi-layered security protocol. I will now explain the protocol. Step 1 is to retrieve from my person a pouch I wear over my heart. Next, you must unthread the purple seam that seals it in a counterclockwise fashion. Do not touch any other colored strand. Inside the pouch, you will find a folded letter and a tiny flute. Unfold the letter and note the markings in the top and bottom corners. These are the notes you will need to play. Starting from the bottom right, play the notes in correct order, clockwise this time. Upon completion of the tune, a magma mephit will appear, which will pose the following question. Iskcha Chisnaga. This is Ignan for "What is my name?" The answer is Kasitrak Ash. Pronounce the name correctly, and the mephit will breathe on the letter. Stay clear, because the little scamp can melt metal. Words will now appear on the letter's surface, effectively turning the letter into a scroll of true resurrection. Use it to bring me back to life.
Trevor thinks this is ridiculous.
I think ingenious is the word you're looking for. Now, repeat my instructions back to me, please.
Yeah, he's got it.
In that case, this will be an easy exercise. Step 1.
Trevor will play along for now, mostly just to see where this is going. Retrieve the pouch.
And next?
Purple thread, counterclockwise.
Right. You then have access to the letter and the flute. Go on.
Play notes starting from the bottom right corner.
Remember to play them clockwise. And after that?
Some method's name. Kasitrachash.
Correct. But pay attention to the trach part. Ch is back of the throat. And so we have gone through the necessary steps again. It is gratifying to see your memory does not fail you. Best of luck with the protocol. May my cold, dead hands soon be refilled with the warmth of life so they can shake yours in gratitude.
Trevor considers this a bit. Of course, anyone would want to return to life if they could. This motherfucker prepared for it. Said something about many lives depending on his return. Trevor doesn't know about that. He doesn't know how much he can trust this Gale person to be on the level, but he will say this much. Complicated puzzle aside, Gale provided the means for his own resurrection. It might mean he's serious about the rest of it. Now, game mechanically, you can probably just use the send action to give the pouch to another party member without actually getting anywhere near the body. But that circumvents in-game consequences for getting too close. So, we'll do this the old-fashioned way and take some necrotic damage approaching Gale's corpse.
Should mind my step.
The pouch is sealed with differently colored strands of thread.
Purple strand, counterclockwise.
As the purple thread becomes undone, the pouch opens to reveal a letter and flute inside. This is the flute Gale kept on his person. A faint magical aura envelops its wooden surface.
Trevor takes a beat to get acquainted with this instrument.
Pretty tune. You're better with your mouth than I would have figured.
Trevor is actually taken aback a bit by Shadowheart's innuendo there.
The flute awaits with bated breath.
He was not thinking that they were close enough for that kind of flirtatious joking. To the point where he prepares to utilize the flute for its intended purpose and completely forgets to look at the note first. Lae'zel helpfully opens the letter and tells Trevor what the relevant notes are. D. E. D. It spells out dead. Cute.
Iskcha Chisnaga.
Kasi trachash.
Dayaya Zoom.
Hand over the letter.
Multhamesk. Tinu Frantha Manthra Gale.
I have something to ask.
My word, you did it! Oh, it's good to be alive. My hands are still cold, so that handshake will have to wait, but in the meantime, thank you.
That protocol of yours was a bloody nuisance.
But a necessary one. Scrolls of true resurrection don't grow on trees, you know. That said, I assume you have some questions for me. Only fair to warn you I've precious few answers to spare. I apologize if that sounds thankless. It's just that some secrets simply cannot be revealed.
At this point, Trevor is a bit fed up. He demands answers, or this will be a very short return.
I suppose that after all you've done for me, I should be at least a little bit forthcoming. Tell you what, I will answer one question that you may have, to the best of my ability, if I can.
That's a lot of hemming and hawing, but fine. Why did your projections say that many lives depended on your return?
Because it was the truth. And the truth is a great motivator. I am dangerous. Not because I want to be, but because of an error I made in the past. It makes me dangerous, even in death. You brought me back to life, and for that I am in your debt. But we're surrounded by danger. It could happen again. If it does, bring me back again. You must, for the sake of many.
At this point, Trevor is inclined to believe him, and his response to that begins with going back to camp.
Light on my feet.
Not this one, nor this one, and this one are less worthy still.
Trevor's just about had it with people speaking in riddles.
I riddle thee not. I speak only what requires telling. Beyond mortal realms, there doth exist an amalgamation of spirits akin to thine own, ensnared by the treacherous cult of the Absolute, felled in its name. They bear great discontentment with their destiny. For a mere pittance of coin, I might summon the worthiest among them to lend aid to thy undertaking.
Trevor's first question when presented with new people is almost always, can I trust them?
Suspicion always haunts the guilty mind. My services are all that I can proffer thee. What thou wilt do with them is for thee to undertake.
So if Gale is being truthful, and his death could threaten the lives of, quote, many people, then we cannot afford to risk him being in the active party. Congratulations, Astarion. You've just earned a spot.
Well, hello. What can I do for you?
Join the party, Astarion.
Well, obviously I would. But you have so many followers already. I wouldn't want to crowd you.
Gale could do with a rest.
Well, in that case, I'm all yours. Watch your back. Over here. Hello, chum.
Ah, another. Thy name has been recorded. I shall be here in thy camp for whenever thou hast need of my services. No, thy coin purse is near empty.
Whoops. Well, that's what I get for respecking people before visiting town to vend anything. I'll be able to do this soon, but for now, I guess we need to look for more stuff.
All's well that ends. Not as bad as it could have.
Looks like Fendal didn't make it. I was confused at first, but then I realized Gale died right next to him, and the necrotic aura took him out. I'm gonna call this one not my fault.
Here we go. Very well.
Here we approach another door, signifying the end of this underground passage, but this was just a straight shot through. Let's see if there's anything else of significance in here before we leave.
What's that? Open up.
Trap.
We saw the trap, but we also saw a key. Trevor doesn't know this, but the key will bypass the trap. But he's going to prepare to be hit by it by casting heroism. Inside, we find this nature's snare that can ensnare targets in melee, but nobody here needs a magical quarterstaff.
Fate spins along as it should. Dost thou require a new ally? Or mayhaps a resurrection instead? As thou desire.
And of course we're going to go for a swashbuckler rogue to try out the new subclass. To start with, we're gonna pretty much even out his abilities. We're also going to lower his intelligence a bit because he's not going to be an arcane trickster, and use those points to bump up his wisdom a little and his strength a little, largely for jumping distance. Since Astarion is not our face character, his skills are less important than they otherwise would be. So I mostly try to give him stuff that will operate passively, but I do want to have his sleight of hand up there. And the other expertise will go into perception. Level 2 of Rogue is simple but very important. Hide, dash, and disengage become available as bonus actions. Fancy footwork and rakish audacity make the swashbuckler rogue much better at getting sneak attacks off in melee across the battlefield, while also keeping him further from danger with the ability to evade opportunity attacks. The best weapons we currently have for a swashbuckling rogue is a pair of short swords. We've given the Gloves of Power to Astarion, since he actually has sleight of hand to benefit from it. As it turns out, with her dex being much higher than her strength, a regular dagger is just a better weapon for Shadowheart than the Watcher's Guide. So I give the Watcher's Guide to Lae'zel basically as a magical piercing option in case she needs it. We found this Key of Ancients on the corpse of Findal, and it gives you Nature +1. Lae'zel is using her ancestral memories for intelligence skills, so she's wearing it for now. It has another function, but our group has no way of knowing what that is yet. We find ourselves in a small room with clouds of poisonous gas and nothing obvious here. If there is anything in this room, we would have to search through the gas. And we decide it's not worth finding. So we just turn around. We're getting ready to leave this place behind, but then we remember, there is at least one more thing we can accomplish here.
The corpse regards you lifelessly.
Who are you?
Findle. Druid. Herbalist.
What were you doing here?
Hiding. Goblins followed from the forest.
What did the goblins want?
Searching for a weapon.
What do you know of this weapon?
No weapon here. Our ritual protects us.
Ritual? What ritual protects you?
Rite of thorns seals the grove.
And who made these tunnels?
We druids. Concealed entrance to our grove.
The spell's power wanes. You can ask no more questions.
So next time, we will be going through this door, which, according to Findle, should lead directly into a druid's grove. Perhaps that's a place we could find a healer.